My MEG system is amazing. Motor load increases the voltage.
Today, we're looking at an upgraded MEG system that continues from the previous video. The silicon steel core, the N52 magnet, and the magnetic saturation base remain the same. But this time, the two control coils have been rebuilt with double the winding count, and that's the key difference from the earlier design. For the past few weeks, I've built several MEG driver circuits, and in the process, I've burned out a lot of components, including more MOSFETs than I'd like to count. I kept redesigning and upgrading the driver, trying to stabilize both the input waveform and the output behavior, but none of those versions were able to deliver practical, usable power. Today, that changed. I found a breakthrough using a completely different approach. With only 4 high-current diodes, the 60 Hz MEG commutation worked flawlessly, and the output voltage jumped all the way to 225 volts. And this is important because I'm not trying to build a desktop demo that lights a tiny bulb. I'm trying to develop a model that can actually deliver practical, usable power. This isn't a small demo anymore. The system now pushes enough power to light 6 bulbs at once. In previous tests, LED loads dragged the voltage down. But when I switched to this motor, a half-horsepower unit, the system responded in a completely different way. The voltage actually went up. This is a completely new discovery. And it wasn't just the big motor. Even this small unit pushed the input voltage higher from 120 volts to 126.9 volts. So this effect is real, and later in the video I'll show you exactly what's causing it. Stay with me until the end. The MEG relies on controlled flux changes. Here, the two control coils switch the magnet's path back and forth, creating a stronger flux variation, and that's what boosts the output. The MEG works by redirecting the magnet's flux path. Each time the control coils switch the path, the flux jumps, and that jump becomes real output power in the coils. When the left control coil is energized, the current direction follows the right-hand rule, creating a magnetic field that pushes the flux clockwise through the core. The silicon steel path guides this flux around the structure, so the field lines circulate in a stable clockwise loop before returning to the opposite side. When the right control coil is energized, the current direction reverses the magnetic polarity compared to the left side. By the right-hand rule, this forces the magnetic flux to circulate counterclockwise through the core. The symmetric structure guides the flux along this reversed loop, completing the opposite rotation pattern. The circuits you see here were developed from my earlier designs. On the left is my first attempt of a full protection circuit with an RC snubber and a TVS diode to keep the MOSFET safe. It worked electrically, but the power loss and heat were too high to be practical. So I simplified it to the center board, using only a TVS for protection. And this is the final setup. I switched to a simple 4-diode 60 Hz AC path. No MOSFETs, no snubbers, and almost zero heat. This configuration gave me stable output and completely eliminated the switching problems. Great! Let's take a look at the new 4427 gate driver performance. With a simplified 4427 driver and double-wound control coil, the input waveform was excellent. But even with a 13.2 volt supply, the output stayed around 12.7 volts. At this point, I realized this approach had reached its limit, so I moved on to the 4-diode high current method. Even when I sweep the frequency, the output barely changes. It only drops slightly as the frequency rises, but there's no dramatic response. So in this setup, frequency isn't the key factor. So now I'm switching to the 4-diode setup. This circuit behaves completely differently from the driver test you just saw. Before showing the results, here's the simple layout I used for all the measurements.
Now the full diode driver is installed, and the entire system is assembled into its final layout. We won't be covering the efficiency of this MEG system in this episode, that will be analyzed in a separate video. For now, we're focusing solely on the output behavior itself.
Despite the low input, the system delivers a surprisingly strong output. This is the maximum output point. A 144-volt input now climbs to a 225-volt output. Now it's output load test time. All 6 LEDs are on, but there's almost no ringing at all. The coil and the diodes don't heat up. Everything runs cool and stable. The waveform develops slight distortion. This is normal. With the LED load turned on, the voltage drops from 120 volts. But what happens next is completely different. The two motors actually push the voltage higher.
This MEG output is strong enough to drive a large half-horsepower motor. Watch carefully when the first motor is driven at 135 volts. The system reacts opposite to the LED load. The output voltage actually rises to 139.7 volts. Now, with the second motor, the behavior becomes even more interesting. The input starts at 120 volts, but this time it rises all the way to 126.9 volts, a much larger increase than the first motor. Why this motor produces a stronger voltage rise will be covered in the next video. For now, just note how dramatically the system responds. Thanks for watching. In this episode, we focused only on the output behavior of the MEG system. There's still much more to uncover, and the deeper analysis continues in the next video. See you in the next one.